Hello and welcome everybody, I'm Christian from Berlin and today it's Rockabilly time. Let's dive right in. If you enjoyed this one, please leave a like, helps my channel to grow. Enjoy! Since rockabilly is a subgenre of rock and roll, there are basically two ways to play rock and roll piano. The one is the style you know from Jerry Lee Lewis, like. So we will focus on what is exclusive to rockabilly piano. It's related to country music. Rockabilly is a mashup of the words rock and roll and hillbilly, which is a slang word for the old country style, reflected in the strict task of the rockabilly piano player of playing the 2 and the 4, while the left hand is simulating the upright slap bass. So that's basically the task. Let's start with a very easy way to get through a rockabilly piece. So the simplest way to play rockabilly piano would be like a simple walking bass line and playing the 2 and the 4 on the chords on the right hand. And a great and easy walking bass line would be this one. Easy because we do not have to do any oversetting, which we will do later. So it's just always the triad chord and the 6th. In rockabilly, it's often, more often than not a C7 chord, but either a plain C chord or a 6 chord, like here. Play it like this. This will get you through the 1 chord without any embarrassment, because you don't want to embarrass yourself on your first rockabilly session. It's very easy to move that to F, also triad chord plus the 6. And back to C. And in G, it's like this. Again, G. G7 I play like this. You can also play it like this if you want. I like this one. F. And back. And when it's really up-tempo, then you can play this really quite easily. Try it. So the next step would be that you play the full line, which is of course very typical, is you do the octave. Just adding to this the oversetting. This is more universal than playing the minor 7th, but you find them both. Or sounds good to me. On F it would be the same. Now we come to the first try to refine this a little bit. We are all for refinement, even in rockabilly, and that would mean connecting chords. Look, if I play the 5, oh, look at this. I'm on the G7 now. I don't play the full line, but instead I choose to connect the 5 with the 1 in a very stylish way. Well, not very stylish, but it's very often done. It sounds great. We go back in time to connect, but to go back to the to the one. Okay, two connections already. We have the 5 chord, and if there is a 5 in the ending, there's also a little trick. It's not as often as the turnarounds in blues. But if there's a 5, you can go from the root 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 with this line. And this can be played very fast. It's very nice to the hand. And so few things are nice to the hands nowadays. Maybe like lotion and this walking bass line. These two things. Like, and you go down again. So again, we come from the G7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Great. Now for this 5, you need of course 2 bars, but very often the 4 is not happening. So you have, when you're going fast, you have not a 4 chord, not an F7 here, but second G7 chord. Okay, now we found also ways to connect the 5 to the 1 and the 1 to the 5. But what about connecting the walking bass from C7 to the F7? F7 is getting jealous a little bit because, you know, we found a connection already for the G7. Now it's yelling out, connect me too, connect me too. So let's have a look. Maybe you followed my blues piano tutorials where I teach you the run-ups. Like here, this one. Look at the bass. And this is also used in rockabilly. The walking bass like 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Be quick with the 5 here, or with the 5th finger, because we want to go up here. So, 5th finger. And what bass players also like to do is either this one or this one. Left hand, bop. The shortest way from the F, we are here on the walking bass, and we're going chromatically down. Of course, you have also the possibility to play like, listen to this. So you can either go up to the F or down. It's a little bit depending on the key if you go up or down. If you like on G, if the rockabilly piece in G, then you do not use this 5 chord, but this 5 chord. So you would like, if the rockabilly is in G, you would at any rate go to the 4 chord here and to the 5 chord here, like. Oh. And go to the 4 chord. Because the 4 chord here, it's too thin here. There's not bass. That's too pale here. That's like Diet Coke. Third possibility, you go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and again 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and go like this. Always make sure, because it can be up tempo, that you're here and that you're getting the flow land with the 5th finger. Okay, so. And repeating, we are on G. This is again a thing from country style. Sorry if I'm deviating a little bit, but I'm getting all these crazy ideas in the middle of my lesson. So, did I tell you that I also did a lesson on country piano? It's actually quite popular. So where I teach you country piano like this, approaching the new one from the bottom, from below. Yeah. So, can do an exercise from this. Okay. Now, now, are there other alternatives for the walking bass line? Of course, many. But there are some that might stick out because you might do a cover of, or mostly you might do a cover of a rockabilly song, and that is also already prescribing you that there's a special bass line. For example, I found a bass line of a rockabilly bass that goes on the 1, before it goes into the 4, it stays here like. So they're already fixed, and you will just have to listen to what it's doing. Some are like in slow, there was just like this. Little gimmicks on the 1 chord I found quite often. Or they stall on the C, like going down. And then they walk on. So they might go down a little bit, going often between the 6 and the 5, like. And then go on walking. So there are many possibilities. And one more thing, sometimes it can happen that the chord changes are let's say, half-bar chord changes. And you cannot not even play this one, because you have to, it's like it says C, half bar, C7, half bar, with E in the bass or without, then half bar F, then the F sharp diminished, then maybe, and then. So what you do then is you just play like, you keep up the 4th beat of the walking bass, do. You know, walking bass is 4th notes, and you just repeat. And then you go on as you always wanted. So, very important. A little bit of advertising. I have sheet music. Not only are my courses, they're all free. I don't earn any money on my lessons on YouTube. They're all free. But I sell sheet music with the courses and with the pieces. I did many rock and roll pieces already, and you can buy sheet music for that. You can buy sheet music for how to play an easy rock and roll piano solo. A lot of that you can buy. Then, are there any alternatives to the right hand? Because it might feel like it has some more potential, the right hand. Yes, and so you could do something like this, like. I would only do this in mid-tempo, because in fast, it's gonna easily get cluttered, like quite hard. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. It's almost like a little bit like Memphis style Fats Domino, on which I also did a lesson. Okay, so that is one possibility, and another one would be to, if you really want the job, to show how good you are, you play this. What is that, Christian? Is that rocket science or rockabilly science? New word. Let's have a look. One, bap, 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 do one and one and two and three and four and. Okay, that's too much multitasking for me. Let me try. Please give me another chance. One and two and three and four and 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 one and two and three and four. You get it? One and two, and from there on it's offbeat. One and two and three and four and one and two and three and four and one and two and two. Okay, I can't resist. I'm always digressing, but you might have a 2-5 chord progression. It's a lot. 1, 4, 5. Really, plenty is along the blues form. But if you have a 2-5 chord progression, then here 1 D minor 7 would be here, and the G7. Just in case. 1. Look at the connection of the bass. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2. And this is my go-to line. You can play it really fast. So 1 and 2 and Got it? What about this one? Yeah, it sounds like when I do it like this, like a rumba bass, like almost like New Orleans piano. It's also this. Here we play it too, but again, the rest of the band will push it into New Orleans rockabilly shape, like. Let's have a look. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Hold on. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And yes, I was right for a change. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and Now what did I do? G7 again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So you saw me play what I sometimes call also the fifth bass. From country, like fifth bass, because the fifth of C is G, and in country, look, the G, we are staying in C. It's not changing the chord, but so typically I call that the fifth bass. It's the fifth played down. Now we can play that also in, and again, I know I'm repeating myself. The whole life is like that. We play like yeah, it sounds again like rumba, but wait for the drummer. Then it's not rumba for much longer. So instead of the bass player sometimes plays the fifth bass down. So you are just replacing you're replacing the notes. You keep the rhythm and play, for example, the fifth down, always a safe bet. Or here, just notes from the scale, from the major scale. He would, of course, the bass player would slap it. Okay, now the question about the rockabilly piano solo. Now you will find a piano solo very rarely in rockabilly music, but if you find one, it's played exactly the same as the type 1 rock and roll piano. Exactly the same, except the left hand is not playing the boogie figures that you play in rock and roll piano type 1. I teach rock and roll solo. It's a different lesson, but you can learn it from me. I link it under the video where I teach you how to play a rock and roll solo. Actually, a couple of videos also on the Jerry Lee Lewis style. So I recommend you go to that lesson. That's it. I hope you're served well, that I explained everything well. If you like my teaching, I try to give my best. You might even be tempted to subscribe. Bye-bye from Berlin. Have a wonderful day.